Hi everyone, and welcome to the Vainglory 4.0 dev stream. I'm Scoundrel. I'm hosting this all the way from the UK, and I do have three very familiar faces over in the lair. I've got Christian, Ed the Shred Shegastrali. You can see Nivmet in the back there. He's still around. And we have Surprise Birthday over on the right too. So, guys, just initially, this is the big news that we've launched on Steam. PC version of Vainglory is out, and we're starting to get people sort of testing it out on the Steam version. Let's start with that. Like, that's the first big piece of news. And how was it getting up to that point? And what are you planning to do now that you're there?
Yeah, so it was a huge day, to be honest. It was, one of the bigger days that we've had. We were all counting down in the kitchen here for the launch. We've been kind of dreaming of this moment actually for a long time, but we started serious work on it now, like well over a year ago. And finally being able to say that we are fully cross-platform with competitive parity across all of these different devices, at least starting that journey was a huge deal for us. We've always had this dream of making a PC grade game that is available on lots and lots and lots of devices across the board. And we've been on mobile now for a while with adding more and more device support, and finally bringing the game home, if you like, onto PC and Mac has been amazing. A little bit also nerve-wracking, clearly, because there are amazing games already on PC and Mac, and we know that we have a lot of work to do. We would know that the minute that we go live on Steam, we're going to get lots of great constructive feedback, and we'd be working 24/7 fixing all of it. It's an amazing moment, and we really so much appreciate all of our new PC and Mac players out there, and all of the comments that you guys have been providing us on Steam as well as on social media and stuff. We are working on all of the patches and all of the fixes and all of the improvements. So we're just so excited to start the journey, really.
Yeah, this is the dream for a long time. I think originally when we made a MOBA on mobile, the original purpose is you can play anywhere. And at first it was like, okay, we'll start with mobile because your phone is with you all the time. But everywhere really just really means any device. So being able to play now on a small screen and a big screen, I think we've covered the bookends of everywhere. At least in my view, we've got the biggest screen you can get. In case you're someone who plugs your computer to your TV, all the way down to the tiniest iPhone 5C.
Yeah, and I think that the really fun thing is that we're finally not a mobile game. We're just a game. Yeah. You can play with anyone, anywhere. And we know we have a lot of work to do, but it's exciting not to have people not play the game because it's quote unquote a mobile game, but rather it's a game and
no more of that barrier.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm a PC gamer. My friend's a mobile gamer. This doesn't matter anymore. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah, so we're excited. I think the coffee consumption in the office is going up a lot because, last night we were, the best way to spend a Valentine's night is to roll out a hot patch, for our Steam players in order to make sure that we can improve on some of the full screen handling and some.
Yeah, it's a product of love. That's why we picked Valentine's.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot patch day.
Should be marketing. I don't know what you're doing making product. That's great.
So, obviously, you guys, I actually was chatting to Christian this morning, and I think it must have been about 6:30 his time. I was getting messages back saying, oh, we're just in the office almost. It's going to be rolling out another update for Steam. And so you guys have obviously had some immediate feedback from the Steam version. What are the biggest things that you've been working on to correct, even just over the last sort of 48 hours?
Yeah, so the biggest issues we've been working on are just issues around the full screen experience, just making it feel like a truly native PC and Windows experience. The thing about going onto PC is just like every single device is so different, from one to another. It's slightly different versions of OSs. That's kind of like the new territory that we're venturing into. So there are a lot of fixes of that sort. Hey, when full screen doesn't work when you have certain configurations, or dealing with like the language, making sure we're using the language that your Steam is set in. It's just in case your Steam is in a different language from the OS. There's a lot of like platform specific complexities that it's hard to foresee until you show it to a bunch of people who have all types of different setups, and then they go, hey, this specific configuration with this monitor arrangement where monitor 2 is above monitor 1 and I have this antivirus. It's dealing with all those wrinkles.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is also just the fact that at the end of the day, the reason the game is out in early access is because we want to get lots of different people with different configurations, as SQ says, and Surprise Birthday says, and we haven't seen that many people with really different OS versions and screen sizes and all of that stuff play the game previously. So it's a good, it's just a really good opportunity to frankly fix all of those things. So, but I'd categorize the main bits of feedback have been really around specific Windows handling, a lot of feedback around specific UI elements around font sizes and such things, which actually has been really great to see, because that's again another thing. It really depends on what size monitor you play on. So those are some of the things that we fixed. Some issues around connectivity and quote unquote black screens, which actually was something we didn't catch before putting the game live, which really sometimes you have to get people from different geographies to play to really catch those things. And we hope that we would have resolved the majority of them as of this morning, which is great. But yeah, overall, it's been pretty great. It's been super fun to see all the new streamers, lots of new content creators and streamers out there, and that's been really, really fresh and fun.
Yeah, I mean, I made the switch to...
And most of all, like internally, I think we were all just sick of re-downloading the app every single time it updates, going to a website, downloading it, extracting, installing. That to me was like the biggest, the most exciting thing about being on Steam, is just being able to go to bed and have the thing patch when I'm sleeping and wake up and it's the right version.
And you guys, can you still hear me, you guys over there? Yeah, can you guys hear me? No, you guys can't hear me. 1 second, the guys can't hear me at the moment.
There?
Yeah. The guys can't actually hear me. 1 second. I am going to quickly call them back. Let's try that again. This is some high quality stuff, by the way, guys. I'll get them to call me back in just a second, guys, because I have unfortunately had a microphone cut out on their end, so they couldn't hear me. So I'm just going to quickly talk about exactly what we are planning on talking about over the course of this dev stream. I think we're going to try and cover all the topics that we had from like a lot of the concerns about 3v3 casual. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of the direct concerns about esports. We're even going to mention that. I have asked if we could talk about that. Oh, here we go. I'm getting the call back. This is my my top quality production, by the way, guys. Can you guys hear me again?
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. I think the unfortunately my microphone just cut out on your end, and stream were like, oh, she were like, aha, Scoundrel, I can hear you, but no one else can hear you. So
this guy.
Yeah. And then we've just got Shinkaigen's face currently in the middle of the the call right here.
We gotta turn on the video. Turn on video. Otherwise, it's just Shin's face.
It was just Shinkaigen's face.
Respect.
All right, guys. This was some top quality. I mean, if I was a production manager, I would have been on fire right there, just sorting out the issues. We're back, right? So we kind of talked a little bit about update 4.0, and we talked a little bit about the Steam kind of launch. What are the longer term plans for you guys on Steam? What are you kind of aiming to get done over the next few months for the PC version specifically?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's going to be observing the feedback and really trying to fix it as quickly as possible. We know that there's still work for us to do on everything from the UI layer to making sure that the performance on all graphics card setups and all the weird and wonderful computer setups out there is going to be as good as we want it to be. Mm-hmm. So in general, I would say just focusing on that level of polish as quickly as possible, starting with this morning's hot patch on Steam, and then continuing, probably expect patches maybe every 1 or 2 weeks or so moving forward. And then throughout the early access period, at least for the next month or two, and then once we feel like we've caught up in the overall interface quality, then we focus much more, get back to the same focus on content and gameplay and all that stuff as the way that we've been updating the game on mobile previously. There are probably some features that we think we still need to.
PC specific features that make sense for desktop. But the main thing is just making sure that the desktop players have a desktop native experience. But we are a cross-platform game. The roadmap, but once you fix the specific like experiential issues that are just like, hey, this doesn't feel right on a desktop. Once you fix all that, it is essentially, the goal is that Vainglory is essentially the same game. On mobile and PC.
It'd be, if PC was OP, that wouldn't be fair. Right? No, and there are some things, like we've had a lot of feedback about key bindings in particular. So those are coming.
We're working on key bindings.
And there are, I guess, some other areas of very specific feedback around still window handling and some other stuff which we're working on. So keep the feedback coming, and we'll try and get those fixes in as quickly as we can.
And speaking of the hotfix, I think it's probably good to just have a quick chat about that surprise. What was the content that you had in the hotfix today?
A whole bunch of fixes. So, like I said, the biggest one was the one that was most important to me was the windowing issues. Like if you have two monitors and they're laid out in a certain way, sometimes your mouse will like escape past the bounds of the window and not be touching the edge of the screen. So therefore, you can't actually pan the map. Bunch of chat issues popped up. Player names didn't show up correctly. Lobby chat didn't appear sometimes. The new friends list, this was both on mobile and on desktop, is kind of slow, and there's some performance issues. This is more evident when you have a ton of friends, and the more friends you have, the slower it gets. So we have fixed that. There's a bunch of little things, like there's like an annoying sound that like it's like a Windows default error alert sound or something like that every time you get a message. Fixed a bunch of font issues on desktop. Overall, the fonts are a little bit smaller relative to the screen because your monitor is very big. I may have overdone that because I have a huge monitor and everything looks fine to me. But it is a little bit small in various other places. Certain cases you couldn't exit the game. This is kind of funny because you come from, the world of iPhones and Androids, and nobody needs to worry about providing a menu or a button to quit your own application because the hardware can do it or the OS can do it anytime. And it's one of those things where it's like going back into desktop. You're like, oh, of course, you got to put a quit button in there.
Why would someone want to quit? I still don't understand. Why would someone?
Vainglory is not a prison.
Yeah.
You can leave when you like.
Yeah.
Including it's like.
It is worth pointing out, by the way, that all of these are coming out on Android later today and on iOS this weekend as well.
Yeah.
Right? Just because we're able to instant patch on Steam, Steam will get these types of updates first.
Oh, and then of course the hideous saw bug.
What bug? I was enjoying it.
Oh yeah, no one's supposed to know about that one.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's been hot patch on the server. So
I hope you saw mains enjoyed the party while it lasted.
Yeah, enjoy the videos that were made.
There were some.
Watch some of those where Saw's ultimate had a splash radius of 8 meters, which is longer than.
I like the Kraken.
Ringo's attack range is 5.8, I believe.
I think it was like half of Scarf's Spitfire range, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
It was spectacular. It was spectacular, at least for a little while.
I've got a question just for Nivmet because chat's asking it. How are you, Nivmet?
I've missed you all. Really, I have. I'm good. Christian, I came by. I came to say congratulations on everything, and Christian's like, "Hey, why don't you come in on Friday?"
Because we need someone to carry us. We're gonna play some games, right? And me and Surprise Birthday, we're thinking we can't.
Sure, I'll stop by. I've missed this.
Oh, it's nice to have you here. So I'm going to move on from the Steam stuff now a little bit. I'm going to move on to some of the other questions that might be a little bit more harder hitting, because I know a lot of the community have been asking some things about some of the major changes on 4.0. Why no 3v3 casual? What happened? Why did you make that change?
Yeah, so that was a big change. We looked at this a lot, and I think it's. A lot of people are asking, obviously, not just about 3v3 casual, but also about, hey, what about AROL, ARAM, all sorts of other modes. Really what it comes down to is this. We want to make sure that there is a core experience for Vainglory, which is very easy to understand and concentrates, if you like, the player base into a small amount of constantly available game modes. And then have a lot of event game modes and a lot of things that we can rotate in and out where everybody can have a lot of fun. And what became clear as we were looking is we had something like literally 10 available game modes that anybody can come into at any one time on the one hand, and on the other hand we have both ourselves as well as a lot of feedback from the community saying, look, we're not happy with the matchmaking times and with matchmaking and in general in these modes. So looking at it, it was really important to make sure that we ultimately can have that sort of, if you like, concentrated set of game modes. while then rotating other things. It came down to some pretty complicated choices. How do you reduce 10 to 3? And if you don't like it, it's Surprise Birthday's fault because he made the decision.
When the way we looked at it is, like all skill-based multiplayer games, we have matchmaking time. We have a constant tug and pull between matchmaking time, matchmaking speed versus matchmaking quality. And then when you look across at just other games in our genre, Vainglory before 4.0 was a lot less focused in terms of how many modes are available on a permanent basis, not on an event rotation. It's just compared to everything else, we had a lot more different ways to play that was always available, and it's available to all veterans, and it was available to all new players, which is also another source of like extra confusion. Vainglory really needed to have a center for people to come in and say, okay, I know at the very least some people have time for a long game mode, some people only have time for a very short game mode. So we probably need to do one of each. But it really needs to have a clear center of, okay, if I have a lot of time and I'm here to like try hard and do something really challenging, this is what I do. 5v5. Start with casual and then work your way up to ranked. If I only have a very small amount of time, okay, here's Blitz. And then if as I play the game more or as events come along, Rumble comes into the picture as well as the events. But basically, games today all have a core focus of what they are as like their main game mode, and then all the fun stuff comes in. All the random modes come in on a rotation. Another interesting thing about stuff coming in rotation is that it's also just much easier to evolve them. So for example, Rumble today is slightly different in balance in the tuning than the Rumble that came out when it was first shown. One for All has evolved a lot, and ARAM is new, but it's also still evolving game mode as well. So,
and that, by the way, is going live at what, 5
sometime
p.m.
today.
In about
this weekend,
6 or 7, yeah, 6 or 7 hours. We'll have ARAM live again. So, and we'll have something else next weekend and so on. So hopefully lots of fun.
So you have your main stuff, you have your sandbox. They come in and out, and the sandbox stuff evolves, and we can.
And those, and those of you guys who play a lot will see that the matchmaking times are significantly lower. So we're talking 30 or 40% lower in general. And we from our perspective, things look pretty good. But that said, we are looking for feedback, and we're constantly looking at, hey, how are people feeling? How are people playing? We're going to be rotating modes in and out. We're going to look at how does it go during 4.0. 4.1 is going to come out next month, and we're going to be evaluating and looking at how to evolve the game as always. So.
Yeah, we're still evaluating this decision. And also it's not just like what is permanent, but also the pacing and the availability of the event modes as well.
Yeah. And for us, at the end of the day, like we grew up, if you like, with the 3v3 game as the core game. So we have a lot of nostalgia for it too. We also think that the only way to make sure that we keep on growing and becoming a more relevant game for a much broader audience in the world is to make sure that we evolve it with the times and follow feedback, and make sure that even if sometimes it means tough decisions, we're able to create ultimately a better play experience for everyone. But as Surprise Birthday says, we are listening, and we are listening to feedback all the way through, and we will be rotating game modes and see how things go.
So just to clear a couple of things up, because I'm seeing a little bit from chat, so I'm going to bring a couple of things in. ARAL could come back as a permanent game mode, maybe in the future. Is that a potential?
I think that we will be rotating a lot of game modes, and we will be evaluating how things go and what is popular and what isn't popular and what affects what, right? Across the board. We want to have a very healthy set of matchmaking across the board in every game mode in such a way that you get into games quickly and good games quite quickly. So we are not going to say never about any of these different things.
Yeah, we won't say never, but the most likely thing we'll do is adjust the frequency of the different modes in the rotation, or rotate either faster, have rotating modes on more days of the week, and adjust the ratio of the rotating modes based on what people like.
Yeah, I think that's because at the end of the day, these are all, if you like, they're just rule sets that we can enable at any one time. So they're not complicated changes.
Sure. So things can change depending on what the popularity is and so on and so forth. And also just the thing on 3v3 ranked will stay. Is that a thing that you're committed to, or just from the perspective of chat, they're like spamming that they're going to spamming?
Yeah, no, I think 3v3 ranked is like the 3v3 game in general is a really interesting game. I think it is in some ways even more team focused than the 5v5 game, in that you're constantly playing, 3-person team fights, and both the mechanical and tactical skill. You don't have the same like macro rotations, but you do have the mechanical and tactical ability that it's really good to hone in that game mode. And we have a significant player base that plays it and loves it, and ourselves included. So no, it's here to stay, right? I mean, we will not guarantee what we're going to be doing next year in 5.0 or 6.0. Who knows where the world goes and where we go. Most importantly, where players go. What do our players end up playing, and what's where? But we have no plans at all to remove it in any way.
It's a play style that we will continue to support. We just couldn't do both casual and ranked at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's fair enough. And then you explain the reasoning behind it, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, competitive parity. Now, if you guys haven't read the interview that Christian did with Esports Observer, I believe it was, you should go and Google Esports Observer Vainglory 4.0, because it's a really interesting article and it's got a lot of really core information in there that if you want to go and have a read is important. But Christian, talking to a little bit about what competitive parity is. Now, for people who might not understand that term, it would be good just to explain what that means, and sort of why do you guys believe in that parity across all platforms?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So competitive parity for us means that when you play the game, no matter which platform you're on, whether you're on a phone or a tablet or a computer of any kind, that you're equally competitive in the game, or that the device itself doesn't determine how competitive you are. There are many games out there that are cross-platform. Take Fortnite as a good example. In Fortnite, very few people would make the claim that you're equally competitive on a mobile device as you are on a PC, for example.
Yeah.
For us, the claim that we are making and the game that we want to make is a game that's ultimately about playing together with friends, where you don't have to think about, am I on a mobile device or a PC device? You can be on the device that you want to be on and feel like you're equally competitive. So, and for us, that really truly is kind of cross-platform. That's what it should be. That's what, in a world where there's more and more devices of every kind coming out, making sure that we can be the game that everyone can play together, independent of which is their native platform, and not feeling bad because they're not going to be as good as their friends. I think that's really that's what it means to us.
It doesn't mean that like if you're playing on phone today, that's your preferred device, and you just picked up Vainglory on a PC, you would be equally good, not on an individual level. What we mean is that so for example, when we were Vainglory was actually first on tablets only, and then I think very quickly we added phones, but like initially if you look at the early, like actually the history of all the esports in Vainglory, you'll see a mix of tablets and phones amongst the top tier of play. And to me, that's what competitive parity means. Like at the top tier, you see a mix of devices, and the players swear by that device. North America and Europe was very, very tablet and iPad driven, and Korea was extremely Samsung phone driven. So and these players swear by that. That is their preferred way of play. If you take it away and give them the other thing, they'll say they play a lot worse. So my prediction is that at the top tiers, first you'll see in the top tier, top elo of play, that desktop players will appear, and then in competitive.
Okay, and that sort of leads me on to a pretty nice question, I guess, because there has been a decent number of people asking about competitive and esports specifically. And again, Christian has talked about this in his article, so if you want to go see his sort of fuller explanation as well there, it's a good thing to go and read. What of esports for Vainglory in 2019? What are your thoughts and your passions for that, and any particular plans, and in general, what do you think is going to happen in that section?
Yeah, it's a good question. And to be clear, all of us love competitive play. Like, we got into this company in the first place because we love competitive play across the board. We were very early, very heavily invested in esports as a way of demonstrating and showcasing that we have a truly competitively viable game on mobile. We absolutely loved and adored all the tournaments that we put on. I think last year overall, we said pretty early on that it was going to be a transition year. We were pretty optimistic about being able to transition the 3v3 esports scene into 5v5 in a good way, and that we were we were confident that we could transition an esports program that we ran ourselves, sometimes better, sometimes worse, but with a lot of effort and heart, to a esports program that we would be partnering with third parties to run with ESP here in North America, as well as with Ali Sports or WSG internationally. And both of those two transitions, 3v3 to 5v5 and in-house to outsource, just turned out to be super hard for us. They just turned out to be hard. We couldn't plan in the same way. We also found that, like, when 5v5 came out, it wasn't really competitively balanced well enough, frankly, for esports. And it took us a long time to figure that out. And it was pretty painful, to be honest. Like, I mean, we were in these dev streams last year with lots of questions about esports. Like, come on, guys, when is it out? And we were like, we think super soon, as soon as we've agreed to all these contracts with all these different companies to do all these different things. And it was just hard, honestly, last year. And it was kind of heartbreaking a little bit throughout it. We were really excited about the World Invitational with Razer and seeing some top tier play again. And overall, so we love competitive. For this year, I think we want to be a little bit more cautious with what we promise. I do get these tweets also every day, like, what about esports? When are you guys putting on the next thing? We do love competitive. We want to figure it out. This year, we are very, very focused on getting our PC launch right first, making sure that our new PC player base feel that we truly care about their experience, and that we truly make sure that that Vainglory is the absolute best cross-platform game there is for people to play together. Like, that's first and foremost our absolute top priority, that the gameplay experience is the best it can be for anyone. We do want to get a competitive scene out there one way or the other, but we will attempt to do that once we make sure that this launch period, if you like, for us is over, and we can look at a little bit like, where is the game, how are we doing across the board, and how can we create a competitive play program that is commensurate, if you like, that fits with where the game's at. And of course, I mean, there is WSG coming up. There's a finals coming up early March in China, and that should be an awesome tournament to watch. And after that, we will be announcing what we're going to be doing this year.
All right, okay, so essentially, in sum up, that it's really more about the PC launch right now, but you do want to do something. It just, there's things that you're focusing on first before esports comes into the picture.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to summarize it.
Yeah, and I guess also, finally, what is sort of the long-term roadmap for Vainglory as a whole over the course of 2019? What is your long-term plans? Beyond getting these fixes done for PC, what is the plans for working towards the end of the year?
Well, I mean, there are some big things. We said that we have our eye on console in general. We do want to be a cross-platform game across absolutely everything. So we are looking a lot at physical controller support and what we might be able to do in the console world. No promises yet. It's an aspiration.
Yeah, still R&D, research and development right now.
Yeah, we do know there's a lot of demand and a lot of excitement around it. So we are looking at how to do it, but no guaranteed dates yet.
The partial console controller support had leaked out, and the Steam players, if they plug in a controller, there's like half of a control scheme working in there.
Yeah. So
it doesn't actually.
So breaking news.
Fully work.
Yesterday, you could plug in an Xbox controller into your PC and attempt to play with it very poorly.
You could move.
Today, you can no longer.
Yeah. And use your 3 abilities, but you can't use your items. You can't like.
Yeah. There was.
It was
there.
There.
So never mind. Nothing to see here just yet. But we are excited about it. So that from a bigger perspective. But more than anything, I guess you can expect polish in general. For all platforms, expect just
polish is a surprisingly long road.
Yeah,
actually,
and there's just a lot of things. I know people are still pointing out a lot of bugs. We are very excited, for example, about perhaps finally really digging in, getting our teeth into the various desync issues. Those of you guys who know about this, is sometimes you will say aim an ability or fire off an ability, you find yourself being in a slightly different place than where you thought you were. It can happen sometimes when it's a lot of things on the screen. And that's the thing.
There's a major technical overhaul of how movement works.
Yeah.
That is a vast modernization of how to do movement over a network.
Yeah,
basically.
In general, that actually it affects a lot of things about the game. Again, this is more behind the scenes, but
it doesn't make rubber banding go away if you have lag.
Yeah,
that's the first thing. Is lag is still lag, but there are in fact cases in today's movement code where even if you have a perfectly good internet connection, it's rubber bands more than what it should do. Like it really, if you're below 50 milliseconds, you should not see rubber banding, but you do see it today. So this is what the overhaul is about. That said, if you're 200 milliseconds and above, there's not much we can do about that. But when you're under the target, when you have a good ping, the movement code today could be a lot better. So that is a project that's going on.
And it does actually that. By doing that, we also do reduce network traffic and do some other stuff, which should have some positive impacts also on broader networking performance and some other things. But these are the kind of low-level things that we will be working on to make sure the experience is like as robust as it possibly can be throughout.
So we're still looking at low-level, nitty-gritty engine stuff like that to improve day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience.
And then, of course, new heroes, new content of various kinds, making sure that we make the overall experience as #buttery smooth as it can be.
Haven't heard that in a while. So I've got a whole host of questions. I think we've covered some of them. Unless there's anything else that you think is really important that you want to chat about. But I think we've covered sort of the main things from 4.0, sort of the Steam launch, and we talked a little bit about esports, which I know everybody was hopeful for. I've got quite a few questions from Twitter, some balance questions, which I think obviously Nivmet, having had a huge experience in balance, could ask and talk about as well. The first of which is SEMC going to be making balance changes like removing stutter step, which please don't, balancing jungle camps, creating support items to help with gold, and maybe a river creature like the scuttle crab is similar to League of Legends? And Niv can even weigh in whether he thinks these are good ideas or not.
We're not removing stutter step. That's
thank you.
It's really cool. What I really like about stutter stepping is that it's a game where it makes. I always felt that two auto attacking carries in MOBAs that are just trading with each other lack depth. Unless they have really complicated abilities, it's just like if your stats are bigger than the other person, then you will win. Stutter stepping adds this sense of stress where you're trying to stutter step as efficiently as possible. But if you ever miss one, you actually completely fall back to the base attack speed. It's not like, oh, if you're 5% too early, you're only going to lower your DPS by 5%. No, it goes all the way back to no stutter stepping at all. It's kind of like a game of brinksmanship of how far can you push it without overheating your engines or something like that. And like that's really hard to do. I mean, it's really easy to do when you're just farming, doing a jungle camp. It's really hard to do when you're stressed and you're in a duel situation with another player. So I think it adds a lot of texture to the game. So stutter stepping is here to stay.
Yeah, and I think with other balance changes, like we will constantly be making balance changes. Like we want the game to have, like I think, as you've seen, we've made actually pretty aggressive balance changes over the past few updates to really get to a place where the jungler is, or the jungle is for the jungler, and where the meta is kind of much cleaner and clearer. And even with these big changes that came into 4.0 with the contract, with the Iron Guard contract being removed, which means that you have to play more active, if you like, as a captain or as a support, because the sort of natural sustain from it is gone. All of those things are intended for a more active, clearer play style, which rewards aggression, rewards smart play and good decision making overall.
We're with 310. We're actually finally happy with the jungle meta for 5v5, and stuff like Iron Guard contract is kind of a legacy of like a previous thinking on how the jungle should work, and it's especially geared towards dual jungling. And the current meta that we are happy with is actually having the support not be in the jungle and be a dual laner in the mid lane. We think it's really interesting to have, when you have 3 lanes, to have one lane be a 2v2 and the others be a 1v1, as opposed to just one possibility that had happened in the past was both the captain and the jungler in the jungle. So all 3 lanes were 1v1s and there was no variation. We think it's really important to have a 2v2. We think that's like a fundamental experience of a MOBA, to have a 2v2 laning experience. It's extra tense, it's extra sweaty.
What do you think, Niv? And by the way, since we are talking about the game, should we just jump into a game?
We can jump into a game.
I've been sweating away on community forums and whatnot. I haven't played enough, so
I do need this
well, you are.
unlocked.
Sorry?
I need this unlocked.
Is it locked?
It's Shins. So.
Oh no.
Oh, it's Shin's.
I need to be invited to the party. So yeah, we'll keep asking questions as we go, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you fire away some questions at us? We're going to be inviting you to
Well,
the
there was
party.
a bunch of other balance questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask Niv, like, let's talk about jungle, Niv, because obviously this was something that I know you were looking to try and sort before you went off. Do you think that the jungle place right now is in a good spot, the 5v5?
I definitely think it's moving in the right direction. As you said, like one of the things I was trying to do is before I had to was I was trying to create a new jungle item. I think Zekin and Sonata created with the new Stormguard rework was really the right direction. Areas I was exploring were just not so great, but I definitely like where it's going right now. I definitely like the changes to like ambient gold and jungle experience and the different camps. So overall, it's definitely like, of course, everything needs polish. It's only been out, like these changes have only been out a short amount of time. There's gonna be iteration, but eventually it'll reach a point where it is needed. Sorry, I'm logging into this device.
Okay.
No, I really shouldn't, especially because of that IGN. I'm just
okay, guys. What about? Okay, this is another question I'm getting. What happened to the gold toad, and why can't we have the gold toad yet?
Who's the gold toad?
I've
never heard of
No, the art team had already. It was just a misstep. Like our art team had already decided. So any artistic endeavor, you come up with way more stuff than you actually want to use in the game. At the end of the day, you know the cliche of like all the crumpled up pieces of paper of ideas that you rejected because it just doesn't coherently fit the world or stylistically isn't right. It was something that had already been sort of put into the cut bin, and then there was a miscommunication, got communicated out that this is a thing in the 5v5 map, while the art team had already said this doesn't work in the world. It doesn't work in style. So that was a misstep on our part.
Yeah, and yeah, there are lots of things. Also, we were concerned about technical performance at the time because of more creature types, more animations, more effects. We already, if you recall, back when 5v5 came out, we had some early performance issues.
Yeah, 5v5. Yeah, 5v5 is more stressful on the device, right? So it's a bigger technical challenge to get it to run on the. When we came out, we said we want 5v5 to run just as well on all the devices that are running on 3v3 today. 5v5 obviously has more things in it, right? At a most foundational level, we have to do a lot of things more efficiently. So every single thing, whether it's a different character with a completely different set of animations that looks completely unlike the Treants, all that stuff is more memory.
Yeah.
So there's a technical reason, there's an art reason, and that's.
But never say never. You never know. You never know, right?
Maybe maybe over time, as every year, some portion of the player base upgrades their phones, and eventually, every year, the worst possible phone that people could have might get upgraded. So.
Yep. Should we get into game?
Yeah, you guys can start queuing. So basically, let's kill the gold toad. The gold toad has been killed for now. Another meme question that I need to ask: where's the Lorelei skins, and why has Lorelei not got her skin yet?
So this is actually a personal frustration of mine. I'm a huge fan of Lorelei in terms of her playstyle, everything about Lorelei. This has been a thing where I went as far as attempting to draw the skin myself, just to make sure that we would get one. Turns out that was rejected, and that wasn't a good enough skin. That is not, by the way, the famous Red Eye Lorelei. That's somebody else's skin concept. I will say this: I have played a Lorelei skin in an internal playtest.
I have seen it,
so it does exist.
Yeah, it was
one of these days. It will be out there.
Yeah, I know. I think a 3D model was leaked. We have now played a working and fully animated Lorelei skin in testing.
Yeah, it does exist.
So there you go. There you go, Twitch chat.
To be honest, if it is not out there and any SCMC employees who are watching, I am watching you. So we will be into trouble if we don't get this thing out. I'm really excited about it. I think you will see it very soon.
Yeah, it took a really, really long time because there was unyielding argument between doing this skin and the merman skin, and that argument took forever, and we couldn't resolve it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've already talked about hotkeys coming for abilities in the future. What about creating your own builds? That's another question that gets asked a lot. Are you going to be in the future looking to implement a way to create your own builds, import them into the build function, and be able to just do that automatically through the game?
So we're actually pretty happy with the current system where we curate the builds, and then you pick that, and then it becomes your recommended path. We do think the game is actually lacking in an out-of-game way to just view the item shop. Currently, to view the item shop, you have to open up a practice match. So that's something that our front-end engineers, like, it's on their list of things that they're passionate about, amongst other things. But right now, our ideal is still to stick with the curated, super evil curated builds. And of course,
Sure.
the curated builds are not like 100% whatever the person at Super Evil decides. They do come from looking at top tier builds out in the wild, and we modify the curated builds to match what is in the meta.
Yeah.
With some adjustments to make sure they're actually usable by noobs too, because if you're using one of those builds, you're probably relatively new to the game. So if a meta build is extremely full of active items, then we don't exactly copy that. So there are some adjustments made.
I'm going to play Taka actually because my ping is really bad. So because I'm
So
playing.
you want to pick a character that needs pinpoint precision to dodge
Yeah,
abilities?
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
I'm gonna play Taka, and because I'm from Europe, guys, and I'm connecting to the North American server. Obviously, there is an Atlantic Ocean in the way, so I am going to have fairly
Watch him better than all of us. That would be
fairly.
yeah, no,
I'm
all right. Do you want to? So actually, we are playing on 3 different devices here right now. We're
We
playing.
are.
I'm on a phone. We're on a
I'm on
Mac,
I'm on
and I
PC.
tablet.
I'm on PC.
Basically, so we are committed not to blame the
device.
We are not.
Okay, I've got another question for you.
Yeah.
I've got another
Not
question
yet
for you.
available on the test.
Any plans to introduce more servers across the globe?
More servers. So we put up and take down servers every day in different places in the world in
Yeah.
different ways. So I guess what this would mean is like regional support, and I'm assuming this question is from Australia or Australia. This has been a conversation for a long time.
Yeah.
So here's the challenge. We've been doing a lot of work on networking and figuring out ways to improve network performance from faraway regions like Oceania for some time. The trade-off, and we will need to frankly reevaluate this post or after the PC launch, is really done, and we can see what player bases we see in different places. But it really is a trade-off between how big is the player base, how large is the matchmaking pool, if you like, and the ping time.
Sure.
And so in some places, we've tested out local servers where, in particular in Southeast Asia and different places, where ultimately the end result, having tested it, is that the net benefit that we get from some people in particular having better ping times is outweighed by everybody having worse matchmaking in the region.
Of course.
So that's what we have. We need to look at this in more detail once we see a little bit more about whether PC launches.
I'm going to apologize to everyone. Everyone in advance.
Case of attempting to play a game while talking.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. I'm going to apologize to everyone in advance. Mine might look a little bit stuttery because I am playing again from Europe to North America, so it's not got the most ideal ping in the world for me. So, another question. Any plans to revamp any old skins? For instance, some of the old legendary skins that maybe don't stand up to some of the newer skins now?
No plans to revamp old skins, because anytime we do that, we would basically take away from the pipeline of making newer and better skins that are looking like.
Have I killed you before?
Sure. Have you got any plans to rework any heroes?
Well, Niv, what do you think should be reworking heroes?
Hero is so hopelessly unbalanceable that it should be reworked.
Pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
She's
think
already had a rework.
Is
She needs another one.
Mysterious?
Yeah, there's always the annual pedal rework.
Yeah, that's a tradition now. Almost.
All right.
That just should be her character. That should be her perk.
No, yeah, annual rework.
This character gets reworked every year.
All right, what does Twitch chat think? Good idea, bad
God.
idea?
The Twitch chat. Do you want to rework Petal?
I mean, minion mastery is really hard. I think it's one of those things where, all right, I'm gonna talk a little shit here. It's harder than every game designer imagines it to be, and that's why reworks happen a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Minion control.
What is SCMC's thoughts
Okay.
on?
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, you see,
No.
Ed. Oh, Ed. He goes
No.
down. What does SCMC think about talents and any plans to increase talent game modes or decrease talent game modes? What are the thoughts there?
So talents. A lot of people have invested a lot in talents. There's a segment of players who come back regularly for it. Right now, the change that we made is that actually we want to make sure that we want to separate this notion of fast game modes being the only place that always only has talents, because players have been asking for a talent-free fast game mode to just practice their team fights, practice their mechanics for a long time, and that's why Rumble is in there. We're not going to get rid of talents, nor is talents going to like expand into a try-hard 25-minute mode at all, because I don't think talents are good for any super try-hard mode. Or super long and in-depth type of playstyle. So we're happy with where it is in 4.0.
Yeah, I think like another way to put it, like the reason talents exist is because we wanted like whimsical gameplay and the ability to frankly like going for power in some part of the game where you could play for a long time and ultimately become more powerful or become more interesting or with a more varied playstyle. But we did want to ultimately restrict it to the as surprise birthday says the non-try-hard parts of the game. The only thing we didn't like about it was the fact that then we didn't have a non-talent mode to practice team fighting. So we've been pretty happy with that.
Yeah, so that's why Rumble is in there right now. It's a place where if you want to have a fast gameplay experience that feels real, and Scarf does he shoot one fireball or three? You don't have to like deal with that question. There's a place for that.
Yeah, but that said, like, I mean, with a reasonably high level talent, like Blitz is super fun to watch and play, like just for the sheer ridiculousness of it. Frankly, I think that little soft balancing snafu that we had, maybe that thing should make its way. I say, it should have been a talent. That's at least it was funny.
I'm gonna blame that scout cam on lag, by the way, guys.
All right. How are the side lanes doing, by the way?
Oh, this guy is so fun. You max B first. My base damage is just bullying him out.
I know the base.
Let's go.
The base damage is very good. Another question.
Now come back.
Are you happy? Are you happy with the UI as in its current state? Any plans to change the?
Is that code for the new chat UI sucks? Is that what you're really saying?
That is code for some people have raised concerns about the UI, and I would like to know: is the chat any plans for long-term change? Any plans for changing the UI between PC and mobile to have a different set of UI between the two of them?
So the big thing is stylistically the new front end, but the new home page is basically consider that the stylistic center of the UI that we want to eventually move everything towards. So we do it a little bit at a time. So this release, it was the friends in chat. There's actually an underlying reason behind it, which is that that whole piece of UI, especially the way it interacted with chat, was actually just really old and not the most robust piece of code ever written. And it had produced a lot of problems, like you'll see like sometimes when you click on a friend, it says, hey, failed to connect to chat. So we wanted to just, it's connected to the UI, so we wanted to rip it apart to fix that problem. But since we are trying to move to a new stylistic center, we decided that would be the next thing we update the look for as well. I do think that stylistically it is much better looking. It's just that the first release, and by the way, we fixed some of the issues on the hot patch as well. Stylistically, it is the center, and it looks really good. But some of the spacing, like the each friend, the tile for each friend, is too dense. It just looks a little too busy. God, I was talking and I was just completely focused on that.
It was me. It was lag. I just lag.
Whoops.
While I'm dead, it gives me a good opportunity to go and read some questions while I'm dead.
Right. Yeah, that's really why you died.
Yeah.
So the strategic death.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the strategic death to read some questions.
Yeah.
Oh, so close.
Let's have a look here. Are SEMC looking to help increase support for community-run tournaments?
Yes. I will respond to that.
Can we expand
overall,
it in
like we
more
said, we
detail?
actually really love competitive, and the thing that we are trying to work out right now, and this is something that that a lot of us are thinking a lot about right now, is like how do we create the best possible way of like an inclusive, if you like, competitive play environment. I'm going to rotate bot, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm coming down.
Oh, this guy is so sad.
I have this monster. No, I don't have the monster portal yet, but I should be able to.
Good job, boys.
How did I get 800 gold from that, by the way? Did I?
Was that
an assist? An 800 gold
Who
assist?
did you kill? Millie?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's on a.
I think Milene had a
Alright.
bounty.
He
You could-
was on a streak.
Yeah. I do not. I have like I think I have a 3-star Finn. The problem is like with Arden, I didn't actually feel that he was the strongest in 310. So I ended up playing a lot of Finn. I played a lot of what else did I play? I played a lot of Lorelei. Yeah, even without the skin.
I'm disappointed that Lyra just used the portal that was only like 6 feet long. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Where's our 30-foot long portals
Yeah.
though?
Yeah. That's what it's about.
All right, I think Milene's gone to her weapon power buff. So if you want to rotate in there with me, Niv, let's get her.
This is great.
Niv's enjoying Sang Feng,
Seeing
apparently.
the chats. Do you know that they're talking? Do you know that we have chat now?
Oh, wait, what? I do, but I don't usually glance at it. Oh, so I use Varya's ultimate to proc my counter on, and then hit him. Varya,
careful.
please ult
Yeah.
again.
I'm gonna back out because they're all here.
Yeah,
Niv is too keen on killing his lane matchup over and over again, so I'm gonna chill. I've got 2,000 gold. I probably should go buy something. Okay, another question. Any items that could be coming into the game in the next few updates that will maybe?
No.
No.
No,
That was
no,
not-
no, I didn't.
That was no. That was not
Sorry,
answer the question.
Lyra fountained.
Zekin and Sonata have a backlog of items. They kind of decide when it's ready, and they like the gameplay of it. They like the overall impact on the meta. We have to be obviously very careful because a single item, especially if it's a captain item, can have a huge impact on game balance. So I don't think there is a particular item that's like really close to being finished or we're super happy with it, but there is a list of items that we play around with.
I can't wait for my YOLO portal, by the way, in a second.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think the map is opened up enough yet, but
I very nearly thought that diving was a good.
Milene's at her blue buff, just so you know.
So what's
she's
up in
here.
there?
She's here. She is blue buff, and she's really strong.
Gonna get her into this.
All right, I'm just gonna take my gold trend. Okay. People keep asking about jungle rework. I don't really think the jungle needs a rework personally. I think it's in a pretty good state right now.
We've worked it.
Reworked it enough times.
Yeah, I think the jungle's in a pretty good state right now. What is your overall goal with the sort of keeping the differentials between 3v3 and 5v5? What's your overall goal there? What do you want? What do you want the feel of 3v3 and 5v5 to be comparably? You know, like making them very different game modes, for instance. That doesn't
They
really make
already
sense.
are quite different game modes.
I think that, like we talked about it a little bit earlier, I think a good way to put it is like we want the 3v3 mode to ultimately be very focused on like what is the shortest amount of time that you can have a game that is still strategically very interesting, but whose primary focus is around 3v3 team fights and making sure that you can play mechanically very well, unlike what we're doing here today.
No.
As a team. And that really is the roots of the game. Like, how do you create that so that it's almost it has enough strategy so that the rotations are really, really important. But keeping it in the sort of like, I think we learned a lesson there when in the 3.10 update where we attempted to shorten the Kraken timing a little bit, and that turned out to be too short. It just ended up being too snowbally across the board. So we obviously reverted some of those changes, and we are looking to find that place for 3v3 where he has that feel of the. Let me see if I need to.
There's no turret here, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. It's like literally just thinking and talking.
Oh, Niv's here. Let's go, Niv, baby.
Going.
Busted move.
Scarf's ultimate did get nerfed on the last update, so you've got to be a little bit careful.
Wow. Wow.
I've got 5 seconds. Oh, Barrier ultimate coming out. I'm gonna wait for this to drop.
Okay, I'm gonna stop him here. Okay, go.
Okay, go.
No!
Okay, I'm going. Okay, I need to wait for my X-Ray to come up.
All right. Well, it was close.
It was close. Oh, Niv. Oh. Oh god. Oh no,
What are you doing, buddy?
Lag. it was all lag. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. It means it gives me more time to read questions, which is the most important part of this stream. It's not about how I do. Let's have a look. Oh, this is something that comes up a lot, and I'm never really sure what it means, but I'd like to ask the question. Any plans on any extra functionality in guilds and teams?
It's not our focus right now. There's too many other parts of the app to that we need to work on since we've added a whole new platform and a whole bunch of experiential issues with the game running nicely on PC and our movement. So it's not our focus right now.
No. Okay. Cool. I'm just gonna.
Is he ready?
I'm ready.
Going in.
Oh.
Oh.
Go.
No! That was so tanky.
But they're so low. They're so low.
No, I got killed by the tree. No.
Wait a second. Copycat came through. She's gonna pull. She's trying to bait me in, but I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm gonna back off.
That was a good duel ultimate. But see, it is a weapon duel, though.
Yeah, that is.
It's a weapon duel.
Okay,
Yeah,
so now we're
If
gonna.
you switch his forms, you're going to die.
Yeah.
He'll slow you.
I might die to this gold oak. I'm not gonna lie.
Copy got him.
Oh, that's so close.
Traded life for him.
Okay, I'm backing out. Let me have a look while I'm backing.
You know what I miss, though? I have to say, I do miss Minion Candy, because it's one of those things where I really enjoyed having them as a captain. I understand why we took him out, but I do hope that we will have more tools in the future to actually do minion lane control.
That was an item I proposed to Zikin and Sonata.
Yeah.
It's like a permanent tier 3 item that on a cooldown that lets you boost a minion candy a wave.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so again, I don't know if we do that exactly.
The was super annoying.
Another question.
No, I liked it.
It was a slot tax on the captain.
Slot tax. Yeah.
Slot tax.
Yeah, like.
No, but it wasn't necessary. It was just I felt you always felt clutch if you could set up a lane to push in a way that was beneficial, given the objective you were going to take next.
I have got another question to throw at you guys. If I just make sure I... Oh, wait a second. Let me just take this fight first. Oh. I don't want to tower dive right now, my lads. Oh, there's a Malane.
Perfect.
Oh, Nivmet! Oh, what a monster!
The plays.
What a monster! Nivmet's a monster.
Get him! No, he's okay. It's okay.
Ah! Okay, right.
Let's get this tower.
Going from the back. Perfect.
Nivmet. Nivmet, that was poggers. Oh, you're. Right. I'm gonna quickly buy things and look up new questions.
Let's go take mid. Let's go take mid.
Ah, you can see, look at this, guys. Christian, he's a very objective, focused player. The other question...
With this crew, honestly, in this office, you have to be. There's no...
Okay, another question. And this is probably something that you've had over the course of the years, and we'll just ask it again, because why not? What's the communication plan for SEMC this year? Are you planning on being more open with communication, or is it going to be through the traditional style that you've always done? Anything extra that you're bringing to the table in terms of the way that you interact with your community?
Well, I think we've always tried to be as open as we've been able to. I think sometimes we've been more successful than other times, and sometimes we find ourselves being so busy attempting to do the thing that we're trying to do, and or frankly trying to figure out ourselves what we're trying to do at the same time as the community is trying to figure out what the right thing is to do. So I think we always aim to be as open as we can possibly be, and I think this year it's sort of a good, especially with the PC launch and the community growing so much. It's a good reminder for us to really work very hard on it. I know that this is something that
I think the community hears about what we're going to do usually about within a week after we've made the decision.
Yeah, no.
For example, the modes, like the changing of the game modes, that was finalized basically, we made that decision basically a week before we told everybody.
What's the plan? Do we have a plan?
So within that week, we tell our QA folks, our PBE folks, get feedback from them.
Oh, I'm.
So like the lag time between us announcing something, deciding something and announcing it is generally like. Oh, I got backported.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was an unexpected little twist there.
Oh, Copy's just pushing.
Let's get out. We're getting out.
Let's just run for it. I think they might try.
I always want to turn around with this guy. If I have counter up, I'm like, I'm ready.
Our bot's pushing anyway, so we should...
Oh dear.
Yeah, let's keep him here. Keep him here. We don't have to engage that much.
No.
Because they're both lanes, top and bottom, are pushing. So we can just keep them focused on this. I'm coming.
Dodge.
I can't dodge. I have nothing to dodge with. I have not built enough damage. I might just sell this off now, and we'll go for that. Right, and now while I'm dead, I can ask more questions. This is great. Okay.
Oh wow, they didn't take Blackwell.
This is a question that I've been asked quite a lot. Do you think there is a competitive advantage to the PC vision range, and do you have any plans on giving people the option to zoom out on mobile if they want to?
That's a good question.
That's the option to zoom out. So yeah, it's definitely possible. The only downside for you to zoom out, I mean, you have to deal with the fact that everything is a lot smaller. But that's something that I think is a reasonable. So this is the first time I thought about this option. I think it's a reasonable choice that people.
Be careful, guys! I'm not there.
Okay, everything's gonna be smaller.
Oh God!
Kill it, please.
I've got all of them. I've got all of them over here.
Careful, Varia.
Oh well, we got the kill.
Oh God.
Kite.
I've just realised I don't know if I have my game sounds turned on.
I need more cooldown.
I might have actually spent the entire game with my game sounds turned off, which is actually really sad.
But that will be inefficient. But I have Halcyon chargers and an aftershock. I'll probably infuse.
I'm going to infuse as well.
Are they?
Oh, pulse wave sounds pretty good.
They're taking our blue.
Taking our blue. Right. I need to get some vision.
Original question: giving mobile players an option to zoom out, not a bad idea.
I think
it's your choice.
Yeah, broadly overall, like we've tried to make sure that the platforms look good and feel good natively for being that platform. At the end of the day, like the arguably the minimap is easier to use on mobile anyway.
He's by himself. Oh, I have overextended. Back out. We've still got copycat on bottom side of the map, so we just have to leave.
Yeah, I'm running up, but you guys should.
Yeah, okay. I've got all of the things here ready.
We got a top lane wave. Yeah, I'm gonna go
with
with it. Wave. Just back off and get behind turret. I'm gonna clear top wave.
I'll stall.
Yeah, we'll. There's like four mid right now.
Oh God, copy.
No. What are you guys?
Oh God, I'm just clearing top wave and we've gone to a fight. Okay.
Oh God, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Wrong button.
Yeah, I've just used my fountain.
Oh, he used his fountain a little bit late. Ah!
Okay, I'm picking this up. Go.
Go. Oh, live there. Okay, we need to copy to clean up here. Copy to clean up. Okay. While I'm dead, I can think of more things to ask.
Top wave.
Top wave, yeah.
Top wave is huge. Let's have a look. Any plans to address toxicity / trolling beyond measures that are already in place? Which has always been a question that has been asked in every single MOBA to the end of the earth, but I'll ask it again.
Yeah, I think there are, I guess, two vectors that we can talk about there. So we do obviously care about it a lot, and it is a complicated question because as people end up staying in the community for a long time, sometimes they find other ways to.
Sometimes you burn out or you get frustrated.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, everybody gets frustrated sometimes. So, there's a couple of different things. So, first and foremost, we're giving our community moderation team in general much larger, easier set of tools to issue bans and to just basically make sure that when there are reliable reports of a behavior that we don't tolerate, that ban can be issued quickly as opposed to it having to go through 3-4 people internally before it gets done. So that's a really simple thing. The secondly, I think we're pretty intrigued by, there's been a fair bit of innovation in the game industry, not like in the multiplayer games in the not too distant past, around finding ways to make it easier to form parties
with trusted people.
Yeah, with trusted people, and hence, yeah, let's wait out this very out before we do anything else there.
Oh, dual ultimate, let's go.
All right, let's go.
Oh, I got some out of it. Oh, I got portal.
Kill Lyra, just kill Lyra, she's by herself, might as well kill her off. Oh, shoot.
Oh, God.
How is it that they're still alive? Where did they get all this crazy thing from?
I think I got 2 kills there. You can clear it. You can clean him up. No, we can't.
Just out of him.
Run, Ed.
I just got out. I think I got out. Yeah.
Okay.
Top wave is pushing. Let's see. I'm gonna.
Okay. While I'm dead again, I can ask some more questions. We haven't gone for any global objectives. Let's have a look. Any thoughts?
So, by the way, on the toxicity front, the one big thing that's changed is that recently, if you downvote somebody for any reason, the matchmaker avoids matching you with them if possible. One thing that I'm super interested in watching the numbers is that actually in the past, I think people have been some people have been so disillusioned with the system that even if there's a clear-cut case of someone trolling, they don't really bother downvoting because it's just they don't know if other people will do it and enough people will do it to trigger the system to have enough certainty that this person actually trolled. But now there's actually something in it for you to press the button, which is that you won't match with this person. And I'm watching the numbers, and the thing I'm looking for is seeing the event and the frequency at which people downvote when somebody trolls go up over time. Because the system actually needs people to actually use that button when they know someone has been trolling. Otherwise, where else would it get its data from? We can do automatic detection, but I'm only gonna allow so much.
Care top. All right, let's stop. How are you doing with that 1v4?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Just if you guys chill, I'm just gonna push bottom, and they're gonna have to force to answer it, right? So.
I got my super portal, by the way. Do you want to backdoor from mid?
They're all by Ghostwing.
Yeah, that's
they
fine.
They also have a super portal, so be careful.
Yeah, well.
I think Ghostwing is.
Yeah, it's 4v5, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Keep pushing.
Yeah, I need to see how far I am from breaking point. I'm about 300 gold.
Okay, they're gonna go for.
They're all at.
Black fire.
Are they really doing it?
You know,
One guy is
we're thinking about it.
I don't think they agree on whether or not they should do it. Okay, now they're doing it.
Unlike us, they have crystal clear shot calling. But
Oof. Okay. We need to
we're
go.
gonna try to steal this.
We need to go.
Yeah,
for
let's
it.
go.
We need to go for it. Melina's really. Oh my god! I just took so much damage.
Oh, I got ported into the middle of
I'm on my way, guys.
All right, copycat, you got this. You got this, copycat. I believe in you. I don't believe in you anymore.
Okay, Niv, I'm giving you some energy.
the. They got Black Bomb.
All right, and I'm
Okay.
All their DPS is still up.
I know. I'm not really doing any damage anymore. It's oof. There's the ace.
Oh
What'd
no.
you build?
Ace with a Black Hole Fishing.
I haven't really built optimally. I just kind of built.
Okay, we have a minion wave. Come on, minions, do this.
So I set this up. I think
Wait right here.
we might be able to defend this. I'm up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's basically a base race with the minions on our side.
Should we
All
teleport?
right, everyone get teleport boots.
Yeah, then don't worry, I've got the portal. I'll go
yeah.
straight to their base.
All right, boys. This is where we've got to go in.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Let's go. Go. I think we
No,
might...
the silver nail, man.
Oh, no. So much damage.
He's the
Oh,
weapon carry.
never mind. Hey.
It's like it was GG. It was good. We talked. They played. You know, that was the main difference.
Yeah, huge handicap right there.
The handicap being also I'm on like 200 ping because I'm going to North America. But there you go. So we all played on different devices. Obviously, you guys have heard. I've tried to get as many questions in for the guys as possible. I've got a lot of them through Twitter. Someone asked one final thing: is any thoughts on doing seasonal 5v5 maps, or is that just too many resources right now that you want to put in other things?
Right now, it probably wouldn't be a priority. I think we love the charm of the maps. The 5v5 map is huge. It takes a long time to light and to design. And frankly, we would rather put all of that resource into making sure the game is as good as it can be from a gameplay perspective. Also, I don't know how many people have noticed, but we've done a bunch of passes around clarity and readability of the game, making sure that you see what's going on everywhere at all times.
There was recently a color pass. It's subtle, but there's a color pass on every bit of the map to make the character stand out more.
Okay, great. I think we've actually got through a significant number of questions here. And guys, if you are saying answer questions, we have been answering questions all the way through the entire game. That's why we were a little bit distracted. We have also asked the guys. Yes, I can see Lorelei in chat. We have answered that question. Go back and watch it in the VOD. But basically, Lorelei has got a skin. It's being tested. It will be here at some point. Yeah. So anything that you would like to say just before we end this up? Just like, another question. One more. Any plans to have any lore back in the game? This is something that I get asked all the time. I'm sure you guys get asked all the time as well. What are the current thoughts on lore and that kind of thing?
We love lore. We want to do an update at some point in time. Like I said, for the past 6 months or 9 months, really, for us, it's been laser focused on figuring out how do we get Vainglory in front of as many players as we possibly can globally by getting it onto as many devices as possible and getting the 5v5 game in particular into as good a place as we can from a meta perspective and from a gameplay perspective. And we think we're getting pretty close. And right now our focus is to grow the game as much as we can. What you will see, in fact, one thing I will announce here in case you did not know, we have a huge Twitch Prime giveaway coming out starting next week with codes. That code giveaway, because we now have a code redeem system whereby for Twitch Prime subscribers, Amazon Prime subscribers, we will be giving out a pack of heroes and some other stuff. And also you will be getting some codes possibly through some perhaps content creators at different places around the internet over the coming weeks. We will be announcing other programs in the coming weeks around what we are doing to celebrate the PC launch. And that is really our focus in the short term. Once we make sure that we've pushed this kind of, or welcomed, if you like, the PC community in the best way possible into the game, then we're switching gears again to figuring out how do we make it as fun and interesting for everyone, including how do we create competitive play that's fun, how do we make sure we revisit things like lore, how do we make sure that we overall keep the experience as good and as fun for everyone as we can.
And guys, I can see a few questions in chat about toxicity. Guys, we've kind of talked about it already. they are going to give more power to the people dealing with that to actually hand out bans, and I'm assuming that will translate to permanent and 2-week bans and things like that, if in those cases they're really needed. That's kind of what they said earlier when they were talking about toxicity. So if you missed that bit.
I was saying also remember to downvote those players, 1, because it actually affects them, and 2, so it doesn't match you together again.
There's something now in it for you to downvote somebody, because the matchmaker will avoid matching you together on the same team.
And I will say, like, for all devs, and this is something I've actually been using pretty heavily over the past month, it literally now takes me less than 5 seconds to permaban you. So if I'm just saying it the way it is. If I see repeated trolling, if I see any use of any kind of inappropriate language, anything like that, I will ban you. So, like, I will do it. Our team has the power to do it. So from that perspective, it's not like we do want to make sure we evolve our feature set in a way where everybody can police each other and where it makes sense for everyone to behave well. Things like gating the chat to great karma and such things. But at the end of the day, we have a very simple tool set to ban.
It's a mix. It's a mix of admin tools, which requires manual intervention. It's a mix of people using the downvote system. It's a mix of automatic detection. Can't give the automatic detection full autonomy. But we have to employ different strategies on multiple fronts to combat this, because at the end of the day, it is a fuzzy thing to decide whether or not someone is trolling.
Yeah, exactly, and that's right.
Yeah.
So and one ask, actually, of course, we have the big code giveaway coming out starting next week. But one ask from the community for me is that we are very, very focused on right now making sure the 4.0 experience is great for everybody. We will be releasing probably a fair few hot patches and different things to fix, in particular PC, but also for everybody. Please keep the feedback coming. If you do play on PC, if you're enjoying the experience, please review the game. On Steam, we think we have a long way to go, but we're really excited about the beginnings of that community. Was that you?
That was my dog. Well, my dogs are just fighting. My dogs.
I'm very excited about reviewing the game on Steam. I'm very.
My dogs are fighting in the hallway, and they're like little brothers. So.
That's very cool.
They have little play fights. Carry on though, guys. I was just introducing my stream to the dogs.
So please
give us feedback, especially on the Steam version. Let us know what works, what's not.
And especially for all the community who's been hanging out for such a long time. Thank you, guys. We know we sometimes test your patience with various things, and we appreciate you hanging with us even when we make more painful changes to the game. And like we say, we do evaluate the feedback. We look at everything. We see how things go. Let us know what you think about the balance between much faster and better matchmaking for, say, 5v5 casual and the decision to remove the 3v3 casual queue and rotate the other queues in. Like, these are all decisions that we'll be evaluating over time, and we're excited to be building the game with you guys, and all of the feedback is very much appreciated.
And I guess, like, before we end the stream, there's one question that always gets asked. What is the sort of the deal with how you deal with matchmaking at SEMC? Because everyone's been asking about it. I think I probably should do it justice before the end of the stream. What are your thoughts on the matchmaking currently, and is it something that you're tweaking consistently?
Yeah, I think in general on matchmaking, like, we tried the random number generator approach. No, I am joking. Matchmaking is a complicated problem. It is a trade-off between waiting times and match quality. And that's a thing where, in particular, as we've been a mobile first game with regions which are vastly differing in size, and in particular with 10 different game modes that people are playing at the same time, balancing those things out individually for each different queue has been complicated. There's the extremes of, hey, I'm waiting 5 minutes for a match, what's up, to the I am playing with people who don't belong in my tier, what's up. And in trying to figure out a great experience for everybody has been it's a balancing challenge. What we are excited about right now is that by concentrating the player base, if you like, into the smaller amount of permanently available queues on the one hand, launching on Steam with PC and Mac, and having just a potentially vastly larger player base over time, we will be able to really see some very, very meaningful differences in both matchmaking times and quality, if you like, that where that trade-off lies. So we are excited about it. We certainly see it right now. I don't know, hopefully most players see it right now. So when you jump in a queue, you're much more likely to get into a really good match quite quickly.
Going onto desktop, going onto PC is a big part of that, is because of matchmaking. Get more players into the pool. And another area that we've been working on is on automatically detecting smurfs. So one issue with matchmaking is that it's really hard to matchmake, especially when people are not the skill that their account's elo is actually describing them to be. So we're now much quicker at detecting, hey, that's a lot of kills, that's a lot of farm, you're doing really well for the first time you've ever played this game, and especially relative to the elo of the other players. So in the past, you have to actually just, our only signal is, did you win or did you lose? And now we actually look at, by what magnitude are you crushing everyone? Because Smurf accounts are a big problem. I mean, your account looks new. You look like you're in the middle of the pack, and the matchmaker it has no way of knowing that you are in fact a Vainglorious player crushing some 1300s.
And the thing is, that doesn't just affect how we think about you, but it also affects, imagine that you carry a whole team of people who should have lost that game, and hence they end up having the wrong skill tier for what's better. So anyway, it is something that we are very, very focused on. We play this game every day, just like you guys. So we have a pretty good idea of how it feels when you're in a good match and how it feels when you're not in a good match. So matchmaking is something we work on all the time. We're very excited about recently improvements in this area, but do keep the feedback coming. Ideally, when you lose a match and you're super angry, like count to 10 before you send us the feedback, because it's nice to read non-all caps things, but please do keep the feedback coming.
Rightio, I think we've had about an hour and a half now of guys chatting to you guys. I think we covered a lot of topics, got some really good questions out and stuff. Again, Christian did mention this, but next week I believe they'll be starting an Amazon Prime based promotion for Vainglory. You can get quite a few heroes, I think, unlocked through the Amazon Prime thing. I think I actually got them sent to me. I don't know if you'd read them out yet. But I think it's Anka, Inara, Kinetic, Kestrel, Malign, Grace, and you get emojis maybe? It's something like that. That might be the code drop.
That's it.
Yeah, so you can get a lot of heroes for free with these code drops coming out through a lot of your favorite content creators. Also, by having Amazon Prime, I guess, is some way related to that. I don't know how it's going to work entirely, but there is a big Amazon Prime promotion coming next week for Vainglory. So if you're new to the game, if you're new on PC, you can unlock a load of really quite meta heroes as well. So you get your hands on some pretty solid heroes to get yourself started and start to rank up and get your level up and stuff. So lots of really cool things coming in that side of things. And just before I end the stream and sort of say goodbye to the guys at SEMC, any parting things that you want to say to the community as we close down this 4.0 dev stream?
I don't know. What do you think?
Just thank you for playing. Thank you for playing on multiple platforms. Here's another one.
Yeah. No, we do appreciate it. We do appreciate all the comments and thoughtful feedback, and sometimes the not so thoughtful feedback. We do genuinely love the game. We love working with you guys. The entire community are making it better all the time, and all of your thoughts and ideas are always really welcome.
All right, well, thank you so much, guys. It's been wonderful talking to everyone at SEMC, Christian, Q, and Niv for joining in the back there as well. We had a game, we didn't win, but we tried. And hopefully you guys enjoy the Steam release.
Yeah,
remember,
what happened? You had one job.
I won my lane.
You had one job, man.
Just carry us all.
To be fair, Fang is amazing. He doesn't scale into late game because his ratios aren't super high. But his so good.
Yeah.
But
we should have all followed Niv and stopped talking and actually played.
It's all good.
Niv was concentrated.
Something like Alpha or something. Got a buff actually this last patch too.
She did. Yeah, Alpha got a small buff. A small buff.
Cool.
Okay.
Enjoy 4.0, guys. 4.0.1, like we said, the Android patch should be out very shortly if it isn't already. And that addresses a whole bunch of the chat issues and a whole bunch of other things. And iOS players are going to get it later this week. And we are going to be patching this game very frequently over the next couple of weeks. So look out for that. And sorry you saw mains. Hope you enjoyed the party while it lasted. All right, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much.
See you later, guys.
Yeah.